It's like, do you just let the train kill the one person, or do you like pull the lever to let it kill, the other person?
Pretty messed up, but like
about 10 people, 10 innocent children.
Raising the stakes.
I would still pick my homies because like I feel bad. I'm gonna feel bad for the people, but like I don't know them.
This is the second episode of the podcast. We got Eric, myself, Skylar, and Jermaine, J Money, J Main,
Jay Shiesty.
Yeah. This is the second episode of the still unnamed podcast. So yeah, boys, let's get started.
Days we got Multiverse of Madness coming out. This is probably like going to be one of the biggest MCU films like to date. It's set to have like more appearances from like other Marvel characters, different universes. This is like the culmination of the multiverse and what they've been building up to thus far since the Infinity Saga. So it's definitely hype. The Infinity Saga like was definitely like huge. Like that was like it had so much like so many peaks like throughout that entire saga between like Ragnarok, between obviously like Endgame, Infinity War, even the first Avengers movies and everything the building up between then, all of the Easter eggs, all the build up, all the world building. I mean, this stuff has been around for so long. But
even the shows, like Loki,
the shows,
like everything they build everything.
Oh my god!
I love how recently they've just been like combining everything with like the Spider-Man movie and Marvel and even some of the TV shows. It's just like all the different universes are coming together into one, and you could just really see like all the storylines that were playing out just emerge into like one huge story. That shit's crazy.
And to be honest, Marvel's better than DC. DC needs to step up the game.
I mean, I don't think there's been any type of like movie series or TV shows that have like had this many characters involved with this many moving parts that just all come into one. Like, I don't think there's any other series or show that's ever done that.
Yeah, and low-key, DC has enough characters to do the same thing Marvel's doing, but I don't know why they're not.
They got enough characters. They got enough like stories and everything already written out. It's just they don't have the execution style.
Yeah.
I feel like Disney buying Marvel, that like obviously like that definitely like peaked it. Disney was already doing the whole Easter egg thing, even with Pixar and all that other shit we found out.
Who owns DC?
HBO Max. That's all the DC movies and shows are on right now. HBO Max.
They own them?
I don't think they own them though, but like I know definitely.
I think Warner. If you're talking about like movie rights, I think Warner Brothers has movie rights because I remember. I forget the name for it. Damn.
Oh, was that with the new Space Jams? We saw like Batman in there and like all those characters.
They got the rights to do that because they own them. Yeah. So it's like every time you see a DC movie, you'll see Warner Brothers.
Speaking of Batman, they're coming out with another one with
Oh yeah, they confirmed it.
Robert Pattinson. Yeah, they're coming out with another one with them. They confirmed it, and the Flash movie's coming out this year with the same dude that was in Justice League. So we'll see how decent that'd be. But Marvel's stepping up, bro. You got Doctor Strange coming out in a few days. You got Guardians of the you got Thor, and then you got Wakanda Forever coming out later this year, bro. So they're stepping up their game.
What was it was like the Marvels or something.
Oh yeah, the show's
What is that? What is
the
that?
show? So like there's Captain Marvel, she's the main one. And then in WandaVision, the second Marvel lady.
Yeah, I believe her name is Spectre.
Spectre, yeah.
So they had this one chick in WandaVision, and she was like, she came from like, she has like her whole origin story ties back into Captain Marvel, and her mom and Captain Marvel were essentially friends.
Wait,
Captain's
friends. What's crazy with CGI nowadays? Like you literally cannot tell a difference. It could be someone who's not even actually there. Or just like someone completely different. Obviously, like Chadwick Boseman passed away, but you cannot tell a difference. Like the CGI is so amazing nowadays. I remember Princess Leia in Star Wars. Like it literally looked just like her. Like there, you couldn't even notice that it was even her. You see that in other movies too. It's crazy nowadays.
True. Yeah, hell yeah, bro.
That's why I heard like you see like jokes about it where like actors they just have to sign a contract and then they can be basically put in the entire movie and they don't even have to act. They don't even have to show up to the set. It's all just CGI. You just sign the contract and they take care of the rest.
Must be a sweet gig. You know, like it's funny you say that because like even like Nick Fury, I don't know if you heard of like how they kind of tried to like bring him into the MCU like as an actor. They started like redesigning the character to look like Samuel L. Jackson in the comics. So imagine like literally you just like get a role, you look at the person what they look like and you're like, damn, this is what looks like me.
Yeah, well that's smart too because like when there's like different movies and it's the same character but they look different or it's a different actor, it's just like confusing or just like what the fuck is going on.
like philosophy almost. So like just like tying in like ideas of like science and God and like religions and like belief.
You ever
definitely.
seen Shang-Chi? You ever seen it?
I've not seen that one.
At
No.
the end of the movie, when he's talking to Captain America and Bruce Banner, it's like they told him those rings are a beacon, so they're like calling out to someone or what something coming for those rings, and then damn, I forgot what I was gonna say. I had something with that. But yeah, that's pretty cool, low key, because that's gonna probably set up a Avengers movie or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, and I don't know too much about like the Avengers and stuff, probably like you guys. But I do like how they did, kind of like you're talking about the philosophy. The ending of Endgame was super interesting. I like Thanos because it's like to kill half of the population. Like that's an interesting question because obviously you're killing millions of people, but then it's like, are you helping those other half of people who might not been able to survive with everybody? Like it kind of brings up like a tough like what if like overpopulation with our planet, like will it ever get to that point where it's like too many people on this planet and it's like, what do we do?
Oh, they're gonna start killing people off.
I mean, I feel like, to an extent, for all we know, half the shit and like half the deaths that like actually occur in the world could just be a part of like that controlled population. Think about how many like diseases completely preventable, or like could just be dispersed out. Universal healthcare. There's so many ways that we could just make the world a better place, but we kind of just choose not to.
And the Eternals, the movie Eternals, you seen it? At the end, Thanos has a brother. Yeah. And in the credits, he comes in.
What is Thanos? He's
a mad titan.
He's a big ass dude.
Yeah,
so
he's a titan.
It's really interesting when they talk about the term mad titan. So now his brother. Well, I mean, just as far as mad titan. Titan is basically like a planet and like entire like world of people, and they essentially all have like very like superior like DNA compared to like your average human.
Yeah.
Honestly. They have a very old knowledge of like magic as well as technology. So they know have like a lot of knowledge as far as those lines. And it's like Thanos, he was even seen as like a freak amongst those types of people. Like he was born different.
Yeah,
like his mother did not fuck with him when he was born.
Yeah, even
like
before he had the Infinity Stones,
he looked different.
They said he's the strongest being in the universe.
Cause, like in a good way, he was different.
Well, in a way, he looked different, and he was also like thought different, and he was advanced physically and mentally, and he was just like seen as like this absolute threat.
Yeah,
he had like. I mean, like, the whole idea of, like, killing half the population to, like, save the other half, that whole idea was, like, seen as, like, obviously, like,
crazy.
Bonkers. Yeah.
Because, like, he
was ahead of his time.
Yeah, he offered that to his planet. His planet thought he was crazy. They're like, they wouldn't do it. So his planet died. So he took matters in his own hands, basically, and was like, I'm gonna collect the Infinity Stones.
I mean, he's kind of like almost like a Hitler type of person. Because in Hitler, like in his eyes, he was doing the right thing. You know, if you like, he was making the planet better.
Yeah.
But obviously, he was doing some of the most fucked up shit that's ever happened.
A lot of people like typically try to do what they think is right, even if it's like wrong. Or even if they even believe it's a little wrong. They're still doing what they think they need to do, and everybody has like their own thing.
But it always goes back to like, I don't know. It's like, what do you know? How do you decide what is right and what is wrong? Like, obviously, in most situations we know. But have you ever seen that one? I think it's like an experiment or something with the train tracks. It's like, do you just let the train kill the one person, or do you like pull the lever to let it kill, the other person?
Yeah.
It's like which option do you pick? Which one is the better?
And I believe even in that situation, I believe the one person is somebody that you know.
Oh, okay. So would you rather let one person? Like, let's say it's not your mom or it's not your girlfriend. Like, let's say
the homies.
On the homies.
No, let's say
it's just three random people.
Ah, shit.
It's three
I'm
fine.
picking the homies.
I mean,
I'm picking the homies.
I would definitely try to save them, but if I can't,
you got no choice.
I love my homies, but like, it's you over millions of people.
But let's say it's like 3 people or 5 people.
Specifically, yeah.
Okay.
Not millions, because obviously millions. That's like, damn, you basically got to do that. But if it's like 3 to 5 people, it's like, okay, shit.
I'm picking my homies.
Okay.
That's pretty messed up, but like
about 10 people, 10 innocent children.
Raising the stakes.
I'll still pick my homies, cause like I feel bad. I'm gonna feel bad for those people, but like
yeah,
I don't know them.
Yeah,
But that's a good point. That's what that's like. Where do you draw the line?
Yeah,
Where do you?
I don't know them. I know my homie, and like that's my boy. I don't want to see him like pass away or anything or die like that.
There's this quote that I really fuck with that goes along the lines of like the only difference between a hero and a villain is that the hero is willing to sacrifice the love of his life for the rest of the world, whereas the villain is willing to sacrifice the entire world for like something that he loves or someone he loves. And it's like if you go along those lines of like by any means necessary, and you start like being like, hey, like I'll do anything to protect this person. It's like, what if those limits were truly tested, like in those lines of like the trolley problem? Because now it's almost like you killed those people.
That's true. But let's take this example I just thought. Let's take like a Spider-Man, for example. Obviously not a real person, but let's say Spider-Man was to like sacrifice his life for one random person. Would that really be worth it? Because obviously, like a guy like Spider-Man or something, he would definitely do that. Even if it's for 5, 10 people, he would sacrifice his life any day. Mm-hmm. But he could save so many more lives. So it's like, obviously, let's say it's 5 people. You save those 5 people by sacrificing yourself. But he could have saved so many other people. Is it more ethical just to like let those people die because you could save so many other people?
Well, I feel like with Spider-Man, when he his whole quote or his whole origin or like
or it's like a person like that, you know, not necessarily him specifically, but what if it's like a guy like that?
But well, for example, like even if it is like somebody similar, I mean, it might not be worth it for somebody that like, let's say for instance, like I'm an average person and like I see somebody getting like jumped by 20 people. I probably don't have that much control to like risk my life to go in a situation or like stop a gunfight. You know what I mean? But if it's more like along the lines of like if you can help, I think, because like you said, with great power comes great responsibility.
And also, there's things you can do, but it's like you gotta, you know, like you just said, like shit, I'm not gonna risk my life to stop this guy from getting beat up or whatever. Like shit.
Spider-Man is definitely not like the average guy. Yeah. Like his whole thing is like literally. I just feel like with him, like him saving people. I just feel like every person he feels like he couldn't save or he failed to save.
Takes it personally.
That definitely like is like stuck with him like throughout, and he just doesn't want to live with that. I feel like that he finds that probably scarier.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like he would sacrifice his life for just that one person any day of the week. But it's like
the average person probably thinks about the things they still want to do or the people that they would leave behind.
Yeah.
Whereas he probably just thinks about that person.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Interesting. It's interesting.
It is interesting. But back to Black Panther. What you think like the whole storyline? How they gonna? What do you think like?
So apparently they're supposed to have like it's supposed to like from what I heard from some like leaks or apparently was that the beginning of it like somewhere very close in the beginning it was gonna like tease like a very large battle. Okay. And as far as like battles go, we just had the Eternals movie where we had I believe his name was Tamut maybe it was one of the Celestials essentially.
Okay, yeah.
And basically, he popped out of the planet. Just imagine you're just chilling and like a god just fucking rips his hand from inside the earth. The whole idea of like that's actually another thing that it'd be interesting to talk about later. But the whole idea of that was basically like that each planet apparently throughout the MCU is an egg, and it's supposed to be hosting the life of basically a god, and it's supposed to be developing, and all the life that goes on around it. It's supposed to cultivate and basically every time somebody dies and all that energy, it goes straight down back to the core of the earth and it feeds into that being. And eventually that god gets like born, which is a very interesting concept.
And the Eternals, wasn't like Earth like their enemy? They wanted to destroy Earth, right?
What is the Eternals?
The Eternals are essentially like
ancestral gods.
Yeah.
They're gods basically.
Was the movie?
Yeah.
Well,
recently or something?
They're very
group of gods.
It came out last year around like November.
They're very old beings.
Yeah.
They are manufactured beings. They're not like reproduced. They're like created.
Yeah.
So they're like, I mean, like, it's funny. I believe it was Sam Wilson that said the quote. He's like, it's either androids, wizards, or aliens. Which is a very like interesting rule that the MCU seems to go by. It's either androids, wizards, or aliens.
And like in the internals, like
I would classify them more so as androids.
yeah, oh yeah, no.
Just based off of how they're produced and they're like they get their memories erased. Like their whole job is to essentially go on Earth, help it cultivate, teach them science, math, and like
what they did.
Do all that stuff. Make the population grow.
They made us evolve in that movie. Like
the more the population grows, the faster that egg hatches. So it's like a devious plot. So it's like imagine taking care of a child, but for the sole purpose of like feeding it.
And they're also while they're doing that, they're also battling like these things. I forgot the name of it.
I believe it was deviants.
Yeah, deviances and stuff like that. So, and they evolved too.
But when that happened in the movie, there's just like a massive hand ripping through the ocean. Yeah. And essentially, I believe that's going to piss off somebody in particular, which would be the king of Atlantis, basically in the MCU. Namor. He was very strong. Like, he can like throw hands with the Hulk. He's a part of the Illuminati. I mean, this guy's like an absolute powerhouse.
Speaking of the Illuminati, they're going to be in the Doctor Strange movie, supposedly.
Illuminati?
Yeah.
That's are you serious?
Well, the MCU's Illuminati.
Yeah, MCU Illuminati, and Professor X from X-Men is supposed to be in there.
So the MCU Illuminati. Imagine you take all the biggest brains and also all the biggest assholes throughout all the MCU. So like, imagine you got like the Avengers and you got Iron Man, right? And you know how you got
the X-Men.
Wakanda and you got Black Panther, right?
Yeah.
And now you got like X-Men, you got Charles Xavier.
Yeah.
You got all these men who are like the leader of their respective like different factions or groups in the MCU, and they get together and they're like, hey, there's so much shit that goes on just because like we don't know about it, but imagine if we just like talk to each other and we also kept things like secretive just to us, and like we could like solve problems like before they became problems. But they're a group that has done like a lot of things that like seem like they're for the greater good, but the morality of it is always very questionable on like how they follow through, because they're always
it's like back to the Thanos thing. That was back to the Thanos thing.
The Thanos thing, the Avengers going back in time, that was all supposed to happen. If you should watch all the MCU movies from Captain America on, you'll understand it.
It's a lot.
It is a lot, but it's worth it, bro, because you will understand everything.
I like superhero movies and stuff. It's just, I don't know. I don't like them that much.
What do you say Well, I feel like sometimes you could classify things as like you not liking something. But what would you say you feel like you don't like about them? Because there could be like some that you fuck with. You know what I mean?
I think there is. I think there is some superhero movies that are just like a little more like grittier or just like dirtier. I'll say maybe like Suicide Squad 2. Or have you guys seen The Boys on Amazon?
Yeah, The Boys is good.
Yeah, it's like it's a superhero movie, but it's more just like it's like dirty and just like crazy shit going on. Just like they don't give a fuck about the violence or the cussing or
so you would like
the
DC
dramatic story.
DC is like dark, like.
So you like more realistic storytelling?
I mean, not even that necessarily. I don't know. I just feel like the whole like Marvel type of movies, they're just kind of like, they're just there to make like millions and hundreds of millions and billions of dollars. Like, obviously there are amazing movies and there's some like the best produced movies out there,
but they're there to entertain.
Yeah, they're there to entertain. I feel like they don't have like the most like substance. I feel like there's kind of like surface level. I like what they have done, like what we talked about with all the different movies combining in the MCU and all that stuff and the parallel universes. Yeah, but I feel like a lot of these like superhero movies are just kind of like surface level, and they are great movies, but there's like not too much to them. Like, they're entertaining, but it's not one of those movies that's like, that was the greatest movie I ever seen or anything. I don't know. I definitely got respect for them, and I enjoy them though.
Yeah, I think it takes like a lot of like just building all of that up, like between those creators of the MCU. Like, it's like a lot of build up.
That's true. And that's one thing that I have been like super like surprised and happy with. It's just like, wow, this is like I said earlier, there's never been, I don't think any other movie or TV show that's just has so many different things combined into one storyline. It's mind blowing.
It truly is. It's raw. It's raw as hell.
You got time travel, death, gods, space, aliens, androids, wizards.
And they'll always have the best special effects, the biggest actors. Like, these are the biggest movies that come out. They make, I don't even know how much, billions. Like, shit.
DC can do the same thing too. They can definitely do the same thing. And I think low key DC can be better because they're more realistic and like darker, bro. Like the Batman movie is good. I liked it. It's dark. I liked it, and I'm happy they're making the second one. But with DC, they just need to have one Batman, one Flash. You feel me? Because how like Marvel.
They need
have
consistency.
One. Yeah, basically.
Consistency is key. I feel like with everything you want to do in life, like even just habits, like doing like a little thing every single day.
Yeah.
That stuff builds up, and like over time, you're like on a completely different level than you were before.
With Marvel, the storyline that they made, if they switch out an actor, it's like, oh, he's part of a different storyline, like no big deal. Whereas like with DC, they don't have that, so it's harder for them to do something like that.
Yeah. To be honest.
That's the next subject. But yeah.
Also, like I want to know what they're gonna do with Thor and Marvel. Thor: Love and Thunder.
So which let me just transition a little bit. Do you know which UFC fights are happening this weekend?
Justin Gaethje versus Avera.
What's Charles?
Now, who's your pick to win? Do you feel like in that fight?
In that fight?
Yeah.
Avera. He's gonna submit Gaethje.
Now, what's Evera's fighting style?
He's a ground person, ground technician.
He's kind of a tricky guy. Like he puts you in like a lot of submissions and just like I feel like I'm not an expert in UFC for sure, but I feel like he puts you in like a lot of like situations you might not always see, like different like chokes and grappling situations.
And he would also knock you out. He has the power to knock you out as well too. Like he's a good fighter, but I think Justin Gaethje's gonna lose that fight. I'm not gonna lie.
I think so too. I know you don't know. You probably don't watch as much UFC as us. Do you know like what's
I haven't really
and stuff?
I haven't really kept up with those specific fighters, to be honest with you. I've been like a little out of the loop. But I do definitely enjoy the sport. I feel like it's one of the most competitive sports, and I feel like it's so exciting.
I feel like it's
the fastest upcoming sport in my opinion.
Oh no, the numbers prove it. I
Yeah.
feel like it's so just pure and raw. It's like two guys going to a cage, and one guy, whoever leaves with their conscience still intact, is the fucking winner.
Basically, bro. Freaking supposedly Leon Edwards dropped out for the fight against Kamaru Usman, and they're gonna replace him with Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor will get fucked up against Usman.
Yeah, honestly, I can't see it happening. I mean, Conor, like he has so much like power and fame that he could definitely just go into a title spot. But I feel like against Kamaru Usman, it's not.
Yeah, I think he shouldn't have jumped up that fast. To be honest, I think he should have had like few fights before, like two fights before. Like
I don't even think that's his weight class either. Didn't he go up? Or?
No, that's his weight class. Because like when he had both belts, he was at his weight class and then moved up weight and won that belt. You feel me? So like that's what Conor did. I think he was at like what welterweight. What? Usman's in welterweight.
Is your hotspot on, bro?
Yeah, should be.
I start connecting mine. Mine just doesn't have much data.
Something like that.
Welterweight. Yeah, I think so. But honestly, I feel like Charles Oliveira is gonna win too. Justin Gaethje is definitely just like a powerhouse and a beast.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just like Charles Oliveira's style so much. Like he just seems more just like tricky and just like he's gonna pull out some shit that you don't expect or just come out with some crazy like fucking submission.
Like you said, he's hard to read. You don't know, like you don't know what he's gonna do, like, and that's good too. Cause like he confuses his opponent. Like his trainers, they're smart. Helping him do like switch it up every.
Well, he's from Brazil, right?
Yeah,
I think so. So he's obviously part of that Brazilian jiu-jitsu scene.
Yeah.
Like he's probably a jiu-jitsu expert. Like I said, I don't know too much about him to be honest with you, but I just know like his grappling, his jiu-jitsu is amazing. Do you guys know about like the story of the UFC? I don't know. I think I mentioned this to you guys a little bit, but I watched this documentary about it that was so good. So like jiu-jitsu started in Japan with like the samurais, and so they didn't really tell anyone about it because they just want to keep it with the samurais, and slowly it leaked out. And then I think came judo next. Like I said, I'm not an expert on this, but judo came next. There's this guy who's like, he was smaller, he was like 5 foot something, and so he needed something that helped him out, so he made judo. And then this guy who's like a judo expert traveled all around to America, South America, to Brazil, and this was like in the early like 1900s. And then so in Brazil, he met with the Gracie family, and the Gracie family was the one who actually originally started UFC. So the Gracies, they were just like a rich family, and then they became judo experts just from like this one guy who traveled all around. And then they developed their own style of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and so like it was born there, basically Brazilian jiu-jitsu. in the 1950s. And this one guy, Helio Gracie, he was super good at it. It basically spread throughout their whole family, and they had a bunch of dojos, and there's like experts in this because they started their own fighting style. So back in like the early 90s, they're like, how can we push this out even farther? So they created a pay-per-view, and they created the UFC to basically promote their style of fighting. And so they chose, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. It was Gracie. He won the first few UFCs, and they picked him specifically because they had other guys who were better than him, but he was small. So they wanted to like pick like a smaller guy who could beat the biggest fucking dudes that you see. There were guys like 6'3", 6'4" that he was beating no problem. And that's why they chose him specifically. So one, they promoted the sport that they created, and two, they made a bunch of money off the pay-per-views. And it's crazy to see how like they created their own sport, and they basically created the UFC too. Like, it's insane. I know I just went on a rant, but you gotta check out that documentary, bro. Like, it's some of the craziest shit I've seen.
On YouTube?
Yeah, it's literally on YouTube. I forgot. I'll have to double check right now. But it's literally like one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. My phone's right there. It's so good. And even if you're not like a fan of fighting, if you just watch it, it's so entertaining and just tells the history about how the sport started. It's so good.
I love UFC.
Honestly, bro.
My friend's about to start getting into it, start training, actually fighting and competing and stuff like that. So,
what type of level is he at?
He hasn't started yet, but
What fighting stuff?
He's a wrestler. He has a wrestling background, so he's mostly gonna be doing wrestling and stuff like that. So, I just told him don't get knocked out, man. But it's part of the fight, like the sport. So, I couldn't do that, bro. I don't want to get spin kicked, choked out, none of that, bro. And I don't have my ears like inflated, bro. No, I can't do that. And like brain damage, bro. Like, you gotta think about all that.
I think it's fun
Stuff.
as long as you like go along the lines of like protecting yourself and like you know refining your techniques, because I feel like definitely like along those lines, like you get that experience, like you don't want to fuck with any of those guys outside of the ring.
Yeah.
Because like I mean they're like in the ring, they're following rules, guidelines, time. You get involved with any of those guys on the street level, like bro, like just no ref, no time, no like stop. Just like
To be honest, they're basically trained killers. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I mean, definitely. I mean, well, between some of the speed of their punches and like some of like the force behind all of those, especially the heavyweights, like it's not something like the average person could like compete against. So like,
Yeah.
I feel like there's so many people who are like, oh yeah, I could step in there and do that shit. It's like, bro, you be dead in about
Yeah, bro. Because you don't
8
know
seconds.
the training they go through, bro. You ever been through a UFC training? You ever seen a UFC train, bro? That shit's like hectic, bro. Like,
yeah,
shit's wild. I give them hella props though. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you.
it's a lot of dedication, a lot of discipline.
Oh yeah,
it's so mental too. It's like,
Yeah,
I don't know, just like
it definitely is mental. You gotta have the mindset for that shit, bro. To be honest, because the hours you put in, training, fighting, all that stuff.
And you could literally be the best fighter in the world, but if you get caught off guard for half a second, it's done. Like, doesn't matter how good your skill is, what experience you have. Like, if you're not paying attention for a fraction of a second, like, it could just be done for you.
Yeah.
and it's crazy how some of these guys stay around for so long too, like just like maintaining that level.
True.
Like seeing like how long they can maintain it and like keep up with guys like so much younger than them and like it's like still whoop their ass. Like yo, like, I mean
Knowledge too.
That's
Like
true.
those old guys is knowledge too, because they've been around so much.
so
like,
much
fighting.
experience.
Yeah, so much experience. They're fighting a lot, so they damn near seen every type of fighting.
yeah, it's
That's
definitely
true.
a difference when you like fought like 10 times or maybe even like 20 times as many people as another person. That's like
That's true.
you can definitely feel that. Like,
Especially in a sport where there's so many different styles, you need to see so many different things.
Yeah.
I feel like it's also a double-edged sword too, because like once you get older and you start taking these big hits and getting your fucking head pounded in, and you take knees to the fucking liver, like that shit adds up, bro. That's damage on your body.
It takes toll on your body. It takes toll on your
Like
body.
I've heard a lot of UFC fighters or MMA fighters, not even UFC, a lot of stories about how their body will just not be the same. Like they can't walk the same. They just feel pain when they get out of bed. Like some guys can't think the same. Like it's a brutal ass sport. Football.
I'm gonna say
similar.
it's just like football with like concussions, because that's like a high priority in football.
That's probably the only other sport you can compare like the violence to.
Yeah, because football is a violent sport, and all the head injuries, and like ex-football players been like killing themselves because they have too much like brain trauma and stuff like that, bro, and all that stuff. You ever seen the movie Concussion? Will Smith.
I've not, but I definitely heard it.
Yeah, I heard it's really good. I never seen it personally. I heard it's
good ass movie.
You seen it?
Yeah.
I heard it's really.
What
good
do you guys
movie.
think is more dangerous, UFC or football? Or MMA, football?
I feel like UFC. I feel like football has like a lot more like
football, cause like just think about it, like UFC, like yeah, it's dangerous, but like football, if you make the wrong hit, cause they teach you not to leave with your head down, you can paralyze yourself. Like people, like back in the day, people were like dying on the field because they're hitting too hard, and like you just like make the wrong move, you can get injured easily in football. Make the wrong move.
That's why it has like so much padding. I mean, I was trying to like think of like the padding is like maybe like it's like a defense for like UFC, like.
But it still doesn't make a difference for football.
It's really not though, cause like with football, they know they have padding on, they know they have a helmet, so they're gonna fucking hit a dude as hard as they can. It's the same in UFC. Those gloves, they're not to protect your face. They're protect your knuckles. Yeah. Without gloves, if I hit you in the face the same way I would with gloves, I'll just break my fucking hand. So it's to protect your hand, and it's to protect, the other person, not your head.
Yeah.
So it's in football, same thing. Like same thing. If you didn't have a helmet, you would not hit the guy the same way. You see that in like rugby.
Some people actually do. Like rugby, they be
true, but they don't hit like a guy like with their fucking head, or like.
That's why, because in football, they know they have the helmet on, so they will lean with the head, which is bad. Don't do that, ever. Don't never do that, because you can get paralyzed. Like, that's very bad. They teach you not to do it. Teach you to keep your head up and hit with your shoulder. Like, football, every year they change the rules.
Shit, bro, 20 years ago, they were like fucking
bro.
Go head to head, man.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like,
fucking knock his head off.
Back in the day, bro, like, in the 60s when they had leather helmets, bro, people were, like, dying on the field. They're hitting
I don't think.
No, actually, a person.
I think the worst hits were probably in like the 80s.
80s. Somebody actually died on the field.
I mean, I'm sure they did, but like guys were not hitting each other the same way back then.
Oh, they were going crazy back then.
I mean, I'm sure they were, but
even like the NBA, when you compare like the NBA back in the day, like damn.
NBA was definitely
in the 90s and 80s and 90s was more violent than now. Now that they get away with that pushy shit, like you can flop and everything, like all that shit. So like, it's whatever. And even like with hockey, bro, like. Hockey back then, bro, like
I would love to see kind of similar thing in hockey or in football and basketball. Like shit, let the fight play out a little bit. Don't let it get too violent. But get some pushing in there. Maybe throw a few punches, but stop it after that. But why not let them get intense? Get the emotions out. They do it in hockey. I don't know why they don't do it in other sports.
Because like
in football, people, bro, like. I watched a show called Last Chance U, bro. A big brawl broke out, bro. You see people using their helmets to hit people without helmets, like in the head and shit, like full swing, bro. Like that's dangerous, bro. Like people would actually do that, like take off the helmet and just boom, like that's not right. But
have you ever seen NASCAR fighters fight?
No,
that'd be like the funniest shit.
NASCAR's even a dangerous sport too. That takes a toll on your body.
Formula One. I mean, I guess it's similar, but bro, Formula One. Or have you seen I think it's MotoGP, where they're on the bikes, and like, dude, they have to. If the hot tires go below a certain temperature, the traction won't be as good, so they literally just crash. So they have to keep the tires heated up at all times. Like literally, that's how less margin of error there is. If your tires aren't hot enough, you'll literally just not get the traction and fucking crash.
Yeah, I heard like Formula One driving, like that's like one of the hardest things to train for because it takes a toll on your body because you're going like 250 miles per hour, and like that's not good for your body. Yeah, like you're going like super fast, bro. Like shit's wild, bro. Yeah.
I know in NASCAR too, it gets like super hot.
Yeah.
And they go for like hours and hours. So they need like ice packs and shit.
How many laps they do? Like 100 and something, right?
So many. I don't even know. NASCAR's a weak ass sport. So I don't know.
I couldn't go in the circle for like an hour or two, bro.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that personally.
Just driving and turning and passing.
Going fast as fucking like.
Yeah. Imagine watching that shit for like 3 hours and just going circles.
I don't know how people do it, bro. Like,
MotoGP or like fucking Formula One is way better.
Same with like baseball, bro. Like I can't watch baseball on TV.
Boring.
I have to be there.
That's
more
boring.
lit there. On TV, I would never watch that shit.
That's why I like UFC so much, because like literally, if you look away for 1 second, you might miss the fucking fight. So your eyes have to stay glued on it. You don't want to pick up your phone or nothing. You just want to watch it.
Yeah, it could be a first round knockout.
Yeah.
3-second knockout like Jorge did to what's his name, Ben Askren. Yeah, bro. Like that's
Like
another
5
thing.
seconds.
Like I like UFC. I just hate how it ends so quick. It could be a good fight. Like,
Imagine
a
if you
high
bought
fight.
tickets. Imagine you spent like $1,000 on tickets.
Right, and like that
It's
fight
8
just ends
seconds.
like that. Like, bro, like what the fuck? That's like kind of waste of money. But like, damn, bro.
It's
like,
a moment in history too, because that's gonna be in the history book. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It's the fastest.
I'll be
fast
mad.
knockout.
I'm like, bro, like I actually want to see a fight though. Like, at least don't like knock the person out. Like, you can knock the person out in the first round, but
Transition to the next one.
like wait something. But feel me? Ooh, I don't know.
No, I feel you.
Feel me, man? Like that'd be
Shit.
cool.
I mean, imagine if you just getting knocked out into the afterlife.
So
The afterlife is like a pretty interesting concept too. I have this a lot of different ideas about the afterlife. I mean, everybody does. Like, I mean, this whole like religion's going off of it, but you know how they say that. I don't know if you heard this before, but they say that apparently, like when you die, there's still 7 minutes of brain activity.
yeah,
Are they,
I've heard that.
something like that.
So there's that concept, and then there's some like substances that can like basically like they're like psychedelics, for instance, that like people take, and they can like basically like something that's like a high that's like 15 minutes can seem like hours.
Oh yeah.
they also
DMT
say
and
like
shit.
when you die, when like you supposed to like when you see that light, that's you getting reborn.
Mm-hmm.
There's also said that like I don't know, but like it was low key funny because
I like I mean whenever I do take an Uber, I usually ask like questions like like what's like the most like messed up story or sometimes or like what's like the most.
What was the
funny-
messed up story they said?
I've heard a lot of different stuff. Like I've heard of like I've talked to like female Uber drivers, male Uber drivers. Like there's been instances of like people trying to come on to them. Sometimes it's like mostly it's like guys like coming on to like either like women, or sometimes like there'll be a guy coming on to like a male driver and he'll like be talking about like some crazy story about how some guy would just start whipping it out and like just start trying to like
it's weird people, bro.
yeah. So it's like, and it's like your personal vehicle, unless you got like some
Yeah.
type of like secondary vehicle. It's like anything can happen, and then not only that, you're like being put into like any situation where like anybody could be trying to do anything.
Well, especially with females, it can be dangerous out there.
I'm knowing,
Females, man.
bro. I'm knowing half those females be going for it though, man. Like
Shit, they do kind of like it.
they have to, bro.
That's why they say like girls watch the most true crime stories and stuff like that, cause they kind of like it. I don't know. They kind of like cause they're
They do.
feeling vulnerable, but they at the same time like I don't know.
That's fucked up. My girl likes to watch those crime shows,
Bro,
bro.
all girls do. That's my girl. That's all she fucking watches.
I'm like, damn, bro. Like, you ever seen the show Snapped?
I don't think so.
There was one time I went to a La Michoacana, bro, and like for some reason they were playing like an audiobook out loud, and it was just talking about like a lady killing her husband.
That's basically what Snap is, bro. It's like,
But it was like
Wife
literally just an
killing.
audiobook, bro. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
even
weird.
Snap. I watched Snap growing up, like with like.
it's always the wife killing, like hiring someone or killing the husband for money or some shit like that. That shit's like messed up. Or like they had an affair and they hired the dude they're like cheating on with. They're like, yeah, kill my husband. So I can
So
get
that's
this
just
money.
like not even like close to being worth it too from either side, because it's like
No, that
you
shit's
could
worth it.
like it's to that point just leave. Like what the like,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people just snap and people have fucked up mental issues or whatever. I don't know.
They
I
feel like
a lot of times it's men though too. Like
Yeah, men
It's
do.
majority men. Women do have their fucking.
Like, I just watched that
Awesome.
John Wayne Gacy fucking documentary,
Oh, yeah,
bro.
I
Like
should
that
do
man's
that.
like fucked up, bro. And like, how you just gonna go around raping men and killing them, bro? Like,
that was right around here.
Yeah,
that was right around.
he lived
here.
in Norwood, bro.
There's a few serial killers from this area.
Yeah, that shit's
What was the
like-
other one?
Crazy, bro.
Trying to think. Do you guys know who the Unabomber was?
No.
He would like send out packages with bombs like all around the country. And I remember he liked the Chicago area a few times. There's a few other
Yeah,
ones.
Jeffrey Dahmer
Jeffrey
too.
Dahmer. He's from like
Milwaukee.
Illinois. Or yeah,
Milwaukee. He
Wisconsin.
was killing people in Milwaukee. I know you guys heard about. I know you went.
Oh yeah,
like,
definitely.
yeah.
There's a good amount from around here.
My friend's aunt's like friend almost got picked up by John Wayne Gacy. In like his worker van and everything. Yeah.
That's crazy. It's weird though, cause all like those serial killers and stuff were more back like in like the 60s and 70s, and you don't really see like the same amount anymore. Like obviously there's a lot of violence nowadays, but you don't see like the same type of serial
yeah,
killers.
because it was easy to get away with shit back then.
True.
Literally, they don't have the technology we have now, and all that stuff. So like, it was easy.
The forensics is like.
That's why there was so many serial
crazy.
killers out like back then, bro.
Do you know like the LSD experiments they were doing on people back then and shit? Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Cause that's what a lot of those serial killers during the same time, like Manson, what's his name, first name? Charles Manson. He was literally part of a government LSD experiment. The Unabomber who I was talking about, he was part of like a government LSD experiment. Like there was a lot of like crazy shit going around that time, and that's why some people think there were so many serial killers then.
Bro, fuck that. The government keeps so many shits from us, bro. Like I think
you heard about that.
I
didn't hear about that specifically. I looked into like other like LSD experiments and like also like what they kind of like were trying to test out. I know like the CIA looked into like psychedelics. They've looked into meditation.
Well, that was part of the psychedelic part that they were looking into. Was fucking like drugging random people and shit.
So crazy, like how powerful the mind is. That's why I was like talking about like the concept, that whole like that 7-minute concept, where like what's going on within those 7 minutes, and like as far as like psychedelics go and like things that like your mind can do, like I said, there's like some like very powerful ones that like where the high is like 15 minutes, but it can feel like hours. Yeah. And so it's like that's off of like basically a small amount, you know what I mean? However, when you die, all of that basically decomposing material inside of you, that's the same stuff that basically like is in psychedelics. So like imagine tripping off of like 150 pounds of like, you know what I mean, or like whatever, like
150 pounds
just like of like acid or whatever or something.
You said pound, 150 pounds.
Yeah, like imagine your entire body starts decomposing and like.
Oh,
that's,
you're saying I see what you're saying. So that's what they say about DMT. DMT has the same chemicals. It's like when you die and your brain produces those same chemicals.
Yeah. So it's like as far as that 7 minutes goes, it's like crazy to think like how long that could actually be for that person potentially.
I got a question.
What's up?
So I heard when you like do acid, it sticks in your spinal cord, right? And I heard like when you go into space, you blow up, like your whole body implodes. Literally, I heard that from multiple people.
Well, I don't think those are connected though.
I don't think those are connected.
Like, yeah.
No, because like the chemicals are in you still. Like, bro, I'm not gonna lie, because like the chemicals are still in you and stuff like that. That's why. And then say like when you go out of space, like you. I was confused.
Well,
I
think that happens because like space is a vacuum, so it's like all the oxygen leaving your body, so it's like you expand and shit. I don't think it has anything to do with doing acid.
See, if that's the case, but we have suits for that stuff.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't think anyone's just exploded being in like the space station or anything.
Have they sent anyone that had like that chemical in their system though? Like,
well, as far as what I know, as far as like from like my experience or whatever.
Because like
now that stuff, as far as like the psychedelics you take, they can linger within your spinal cord, and they can actually like you can actually end up like tripping later if you like crack your back in a certain way.
I crack my back a lot.
So that's like that's an interesting concept. There's actually like there's a lot of like interesting like psychedelics out there, low key. Like there's a certain way you can like breathe and get the same effects of DMT. So it's like you could even like the stuff that like that's out there that like you're taking to like get high or whatever, like the shit's like inside your body. It's just but like we just like use that to influence it because like we don't have like that much control. Just be like, oh, be more active or be more social.
I want to see
that.
I want to see more drug technology. I mean, obviously it is coming in a lot of ways, but like LSD was in like a long time ago. Weed's been around forever.
Yeah.
I mean, sure. I guess like OxyContin, but obviously that's not a good drug.
The government's been so like fucked in the past as far as like, so fucked in the past as far as like with all these different like drugs, like with their relationship like with weed and like even with like
how about
psychedelics. Lean.
Well, I mean that's kind of
lean.
That's like same as like the opiates and shit, isn't it? It's like
like there's like some
medical use.
There's definitely some drugs where like I feel like there's no such thing as like there's a quote like this is a quote for sure like but there's no such thing as like a good or bad thing. It's like there's just this thing that exists in the world,
Yeah.
and you can use it in a good or bad way. And there's you,
true.
this person, and it's just the relationship between you and the thing is bad. Like sleeping pills.
Yeah.
You could
It
take
could be
sleeping
anything.
pills and sleep, or you could take too many sleeping pills and like fuck yourself up. You can drink too much water and like explode.
That's true. No,
Everything's deadly.
even your phone, like it's like you can be addicted to your phone and waste so much time and this and that, or you can use it in a good way to do research or whatever. You can overuse anything, just like you said, sleep, like water, whatever.
Anything.
You gotta use everything with moderation. Anything can have a good side and a bad side.
Everything with moderation is such a good quote. Such a thing, a good thing to go by.
All right, I was gonna say we could probably do a few more minutes and then wrap it up soon. Any last topics you guys want to go over or anything?
What do you guys think goes on in Afterlife?
Wow.
To be honest, I think you get like I said, going back to I said when you pass away and like you wake up that brighter light.
You think you reincarnate?
Yeah.
Do you think it's a direct reincarnation, or do you think that some people? Do you think everybody has a direct reincarnation, or do you think it could be a potentially like in between state, or do you think there could be
directly? Because like
how's it chosen though?
Because like think about it, like we have ancestors. They're us from our past, right?
Mm-hmm. I definitely heavily believe in that, because like, you know what, I feel like the concept of like, which is such a crazy concept, like our ancestors would basically like think like, man, like I'd love to just like be able to like, you know, work or like get this or have this type of lifestyle, and it's like all these things that we have we kind of just take for granted, and it's like
It's just because that's how it's been. That's how we grew up. That's how it is.
It's a perspective.
No, yeah, 100%.
So it's like coming from where we're at, we're just kind of used to it. So we're just like constantly like dying, coming back just to be like, make it better, upgrade it. So that's kind of like the whole point of that, versus just being like somebody that's like an immortal and just never changes and stays stagnant. It's like, oh well, this is fine.
Yeah.
Like
My
we're
question
constantly
is-
changing and like.
My
doing
question
stuff
is
different.
like, are they working on like a way to like Captain America type, like freeze your body and you still live? Like,
Oh, they've done that with a lot of people. I don't think they have a way to like bring them back yet, but they have
frozen their body.
Yeah, so
Like,
there's
frozen.
no guarantee they're coming back, but they have
Right.
frozen bodies. I know Walt Disney, they froze Walt Disney, and I'm sure like a lot of other people too.
Supposedly they said they have him under like Disney World or Disneyland, like he's underground.
Probably
like,
do. Probably
yeah.
do. I feel like there's a lot more shit out there than we probably know, but I don't think we
Yeah.
can bring back people yet.
The government doesn't tell us nothing, bro. They have aliens. In my opinion, I think they have aliens, and
Well,
that's
they-
why we
they-
evolved so much, bro.
They
That
said
could be
that
another
they
reason.
they released those documents. So
They did.
Yeah.
Well, they released a document
Just
that
saying
said
that they
like,
confirmed
"Oh,
them.
we saw some shit that we don't know what it is."
Yeah.
That's all they said, but it's like they obviously know more than what they're saying,
Oh,
or
yeah.
they're trying to like misdirect us in some way. But there's definitely some more shit going on than like they
That's
want
why
to tell us.
I think they made COVID like a big thing to distract us, like focus on COVID and distract us from what's actually like going on and like other shit like that, bro. Like the government always has a plan, bro. Like they know what they're doing, bro. Anything they bring out or say, they know what they're doing. They
This
don't
is-
just say it to say it, bro. Like
There's this really dope show on Netflix you guys should check out. I just finished it actually last night. It's called Inside Job. Have you guys heard of that?
on
I think
Netflix,
so.
I think so.
So it's basically this woman, I believe her name's Morgan. I forget her name, low key, a little toasty. But basically she works for the deep state, and she basically like does a lot of stuff like behind the scenes. I feel like if I tried to describe the show, it's like a mix of like Rick and Morty and Gravity Falls.
I seen Gravity Falls.
Gravity
seen
Falls
Gravity
had like
Falls.
That's a Disney Channel show.
a series of like conspiracies and one after another and clues, and it just always had you guessing. So it was like that mixed with like Rick and Morty. And her dad used to have the same job as her, so it's like, but he's just like a resentful asshole that's like trying to bring down the company, and she's working for the company, trying to take over the company.
That's
And it's like a lot of moving parts with it, and it's like really interesting, and they like have a lot of humor behind like, you know, the government controlling stuff, and like it's like super interesting.
to be honest, like
Definitely check it out. I don't want to really spoil too much besides that. Like,
Is it about real stuff, real shit, or is like nonfiction
I mean, it's
or fiction? Which
fictions.
fiction's the fake one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, fiction's fake and non-fiction's real.
Well, yes, I said it correctly. I said it
Yeah.
correctly.
There's a movie I want to watch on Netflix. It happened real life in Africa, South Africa. That's when Nelson Mandela got like arrested. So these group of people went in the bank. They weren't robbing the bank. They didn't give a fuck about the money. They just wanted to free Nelson.
I saw the trailer.
Yeah,
I saw the trailer.
Like,
yeah.
He said, "What do you want? Free Nelson Mandela." It looks really good. It's like.
Why did they arrest him in the first place? It was just some bullshit, wasn't it? Like, they were just racist pieces of shit or something.
Man.
Wait, real quick, before we wrap this one up, Jermaine, so tell me the story about. Wait, I mean, there's a few stories you could tell us, but the one thing I had in mind was the you're talking about the tattoo that your friend got.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm gonna tell you guys. I don't care if you're in love with a girl or anything. Never, ever get your girl's name tatted on you, bro. My homie did the mistake of tattooing his girlfriend's name on his neck. You know what's crazy? I pulled up to football practice. He Snapchatted me. I was looking at it. I was like, it was in cursive. So I was looking at it. I was like, I couldn't read it. So I was like, told my friend CJ, I'm like, yo, what does it say? And he looks at it. He says, it says Valerie, bro. I was like, my mouth was like dropped.
How big was it?
Where was big. It wasn't only behind his ear. It was just like right here.
All those behind his ear. So even if you're wearing a shirt, you can still see it.
Yeah, bro. I was like,
damn,
oh my
that's crazy.
gosh, bro. Like, that thing was like just mind blowing to me. Like, bro, like, I want to tell him like, you should never done that, but like, it's his life. It's his.
How long had they been together?
Not even long, bro. They just got back together. They just legit got back together.
So was it one of those things like, oh, I'm gonna try to like win you back by getting a tattoo, or like it was just?
I think it was just an impulse thing, like, or she convinced him, or he was just down for it. Like, it just blew my mind, bro. Like, I was like, I could never do that. I'm sorry. I don't care if like I'm married to a chick and like we're together forever. Like,
I mean, yeah.
I can never.
So I mean, you don't have to go into the details if you don't want to, but like, what was the other shit that you were saying that happened in the relationship? I mean, you don't have to go into details. Like,
oh, just like she's not right for him, bro. Like, he deserves better, bro.
I think he deserves better.
Yeah, in my opinion, but like, if he's happy, man, I'm happy for him. But like,
we're not gonna say details, but it was some shit that happened, you know. Like,
yeah, like, has your friend ever done that? Like, has any of your friends ever done that with a girl? Like, get their name tatted on them, bro? Like,
no, I don't know any people like that.
Like, I said to my girl, I'll get Ari. Her name's Ariana. I said I'll get Ari tatted if she got Sky tatted on her.
See, that's different, because that can be anything. But like, he got her full name tatted, and like, what if they break up? How you gonna cover that? Like, where you gonna put it on that?
You put a lot of shit on.
You can cover some shit up.
You can, but like,
I feel like you use some dope shit.
Where you gonna put it on your neck? Because it's gonna be hard to get a job. You have like a big cover up neck tattoo.
It just depends on what you do. And then plus, I'm gonna be honest, speaking on experience from neck tattoos, like that shit hurts like a bitch. So like, I mean, it's just, I feel like the biggest like downfall of that is just go through that pain again after you just have to get the fucking a signature on your neck. Bro, like, that shit feels like you're getting your shit like not at all.
Yeah, bro, like
when it's on your neck.
Like, it's not, bro. It's supposed to be like, it's like right here, bro, and down. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, I mean, that's my boy, man.
I mean, it probably didn't take too long, but like, still.
Yeah, that's my boy though. Like, that's my boy, but like, he tweaked on that moment. He tweaked on my moment. Like, I sent a Snapchat to me, my face like.
Did you let him know he tweaked, or?
No, I didn't tell him. I didn't tell him.
You gotta let him know he's tweaking.
He think I'm gonna be supporting him, but I am supportive. But like,
but why?
He done fucked up.
Why are you?
He done fucked up, Daniel. He done fucked up. Like,
you can support him, but you don't have to support bad decisions.
Damn, bro, you just exposed him and everything.
No, that's not his name. Like, you don't heard that expression, like, you done fucked up, Daniel. Yeah,
no, I've never heard of that.
I've not either.
I don't know. I heard that.
But you talking about your friend Daniel? The Daniel I met? Oh,
Daniel, you got me confused. I'm not gonna lie.
So yeah,
but
any like closing thoughts on anything?